I asked my FPL experts for their top transfer recommendations for game week 3. In today's video, we're going to be going through each and every single one that was sent in and kind of analysing whether or not I think they're worth it or if you should be avoiding them. Now, before we start today's video, I just want to say that if you do enjoy any of the content that you see on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe, as we are trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the calendar year. It would be absolutely amazing if we could do that. So like I said, if you do enjoy any of that content, make sure you're hitting that subscribe button. Right, first off, we're going to start off with a player that obviously isn't going to be a recommend to buy this week. It is every kind of expert that I kind of quizzed. They all said to me NKUKNKU has to be one of the easiest sells this week. Now, obviously his price has already dropped to 6.4 million. If you aren't aware, Fantasy Football Hub do have a price kind of predictor tool that is available on their website. I'll leave a link to that in the description. Obviously, if you do want to sign up, it is 50% off using my link as well. So, you know, there's some great features on there as well that go along with this price predictor as well to help you become the best FPL manager this season. But yeah, all the experts, they said NKUKNKU was a sell. Didn't see 60 minutes in the first game. Didn't even, well, he came off the bench, but very, very late on in Chelsea's second game. So for me, I've already taken him out of my team. I moved to Morgan Rogers, obviously, last night. I think that's the correct move to go for. And I'm in 100% agreement. If you do have Christopher NKUKNKU, I would be looking to sell him ASAP before he gets any more price decreases. But obviously, my experts did outline some players that they would replace NKUKNKU with, and it is going to be these gentlemen right here. Now, this is for the people that are obviously looking to, you know, take a little bit of money out of midfield and look to downgrade it, because we've got some quality options around that 5 to 5.6 range. So let's first off start with Emile Smith-Rowe. He seems to be the popular one. He was, you know, very well backed in pre-season. The next two fixtures are great. Even Newcastle at home, they've not started the season on fire, so again, could be a very, very decent option. Has the second highest predicted points over the next 3 game weeks as well, has already seen a price increase, and it wouldn't surprise me with positive fixtures coming up and kind of the hype on, you know, within the FPL community that he definitely gets another one as well. So I think Emile Smith-Rowe for the next few is a great enabler at that price point as well. But my favourite, I already briefly mentioned it, I took NKUKNKU out, I did bring in Morgan Rogers. Yet to see a price increase this week, but I would imagine he will be one of those players that will go up. I thought he looked electric against Arsenal, absolutely bossed that midfield for around 75 minutes. And I think the fact that he wasn't an early substitution either suggests to me that he is obviously one of Emery's go-to men this season. And I think, you know, if Watkins could have put some away of some of his chances, we would be looking at, you know, some Rodgers assists as well. They have arguably one of the best fixture runs in the league as well. Leicester, Everton, Wolves, Ipswich, Manchester United, Fulham and Bournemouth. It's a great set of fixtures. So for me, 5 million feels like a really, really underpriced player. And I don't think the Fantasy Football Hub algorithm has picked up on his minutes and obviously his point scoring potential with their, you know, projected points model yet, but I do feel over the next few weeks he could have a mental kind of breakthrough moment, to be honest. A player that's going a little bit under the radar, under 2% owned at the moment, and was recommended by one of my FPL experts. It is Semenyo from Bournemouth, and obviously with their kind of striker lack of, if you know, since Solanke's really left, he has kind of been playing as, you know, the forward for this side, and as you can see, he's had a great start to the season. 2 goal involvements, the best expected goal involvements on this list as well over the opening 2. The only thing that does put me off with him is the fixtures. There's just not really anything that's kind of stand out. Everton away, probably going to win. Chelsea, Liverpool, then it's Southampton, Leicester, and then Arsenal and Aston Villa. So you're realistically probably getting 3, I'm probably pushing it at 3. 2 good fixtures over the next probably 5 to 6 game weeks. Is it going to be worth it? Probably not. If he's going to be sat on your bench for most of those weeks and obviously can come in for the Southampton and Leicester, he could be a great asset. But otherwise, I just think with those fixtures, it's not worth the buy for me. I think there are plenty of other better options. I would prefer Rodgers and Smith-Rowe, who have better fixtures. And I think, you know, will do better over this time period as well. I think Semenyo, with these more difficult games, we will see a little bit of drop off in terms of his points and kind of output kind of compared to where he is right now. And then the final player is going to be Minter, a very kind of highly rated player within the FPL community that did pick up a lot of plaudits over the course of pre-season, had a great pre-season, great first game week 1, did unfortunately have to come off early in that game around the 45th minute. I don't think he had a great game against Manchester United. I think Diego Dalot pocketed him for most of the game. Again, very similar to Semenyo, they've got a mixed bag of fixtures. If obviously you're looking for someone that is just going to be, you know, rotating with other players and can come into the side when you need him, then that's fine, because, you know, they've got Ipswich and Nottingham Forest in 4 and 5, and then probably their next good fixture you would want to play him in is maybe game week 8 against Newcastle away or game week 9 with Wolves at home. Other than that though, they have to face Arsenal, Chelsea and Tottenham, so not the easiest run on fixture. And I think if I was to pick one of these cheap midfielders for this week, I probably would say Rodgers is my favourite. Obviously I've backed him myself, and then Smith Rowe my second favourite. Minter probably the third favourite, and then Semenyo for me. Those fixtures just aren't good enough, but obviously if you do have, you know, rotating players, I think that is fine. I think that's acceptable, but for me, I think most of us will be looking for NKUKNKU replacements that feature a lot of minutes, and that for me will be Rodgers and Smith Rowe. So yeah, those are the two that I'm agreeing with my experts on. Moving on to the Manchester City boys. Both of these were mentioned by my experts, and for very good reason. They absolutely smashed Ipswich at the weekend. They've got 2 nice fixtures coming up as well, have Manchester City with West Ham and Brentford. Does then get a little bit more tricky with Arsenal at home, then Newcastle away. Following that though, it is Fulham, Wolves and Southampton, so again does pick up. So if you can, you know, maybe just withhold those 2 game weeks with these players and, you know, play them through, then you never know, it could work out. It could be very, very positive. Obviously I am not an Erling Haaland owner. If you've watched any of my videos this season, you know I don't have him in my side. I think at some point, maybe I'm eyeing up that run after, you know, the Newcastle game, game week 7 and beyond, where they've got some pretty decent fixtures. And I think realistically, he is one of the best captaincy options during that fixture run. I think he might find a way back into my side. Now, he's already experienced the price rise, and obviously at the moment, his ownership is probably going to be the lowest we will see for a long time while he is fully fit and available. And probably this is where you're going to get the maximum potential out of him in terms of that armband. Now, the obvious point is, you know, his price point is extremely elevated. But if you are on a wild card, or you've saved a couple of transfers and you've got some maneuverability for those next few game weeks, I think Erling Haaland, he is a good buy. I can't put it past he's not a good buy. The fixtures are there. He's proven he's an absolute bagsman. And I think, if I remember correctly, he's averaging a hat-trick every 9.87 games, which is absolutely ridiculous and scary. Always represents a great captaincy option. I just think, though, for me, I'm probably going to wait a few more weeks before I go and bring him in. Maybe that could be a couple of weeks too late, and I've already missed some, you know, potential other Haaland hauls. But let me know what you think of that one down in the comments section. The other man who did catch my eye and did receive a price rise last night was Kevin De Bruyne. Obviously, Phil Foden missed the game through illness, so I think, you know, KDB again will probably be starting the next 2 at a minimum, and I thought he was phenomenal, to be honest. Watching some of the balls he was putting in, I thought it was very, very unfortunate not to have came away with more returns in that game. Put a peach of a ball in for Erling Haaland, and if it wasn't for a wonder save from Muric, it could very easily have been another Haaland goal, another KDB assist. I thought he ran that midfield stupendously. Some great fixtures coming up, and again, if you maybe like me, you've got that flexibility with midfielders. You can switch to the KDBs, the Palmers, the Sakas, the Sons. Obviously, if you've gone for that kind of more I'd say midfield premium structure rather than Haaland, you could very easily rotate this guy in and out, switch, you know, him off for those 2 difficult fixtures, then back in for the Fulham, Wolves and Southampton, and maybe at that point, Phil Foden also becomes a decent option. But let me know what you think about the 2 City boys down in the description. Have either of them caught your eye, and have either of them made it into your transfer plans for game week 3? And moving on to the final 2 players we're going to review in today's video, it is going to be Wissa and it is going to be Mbeumo. They are, if you look at the Fantasy Football Hub predicted kind of points tool over the next week, These two are obviously the big standouts because they're playing Southampton. That is obviously the main appeal. Then they have City and Tottenham, not great, but West Ham, Wolves, Manchester United, Ipswich after that. I think I'm going to jump on Bryan Mbeumo around game week 6. That's when Newcastle's fixtures fall away. So if you do have Anthony Gordon, there is your replacement already lined up and waiting for you in game week 6. Wissa, though, does represent an interesting option at 6 million. Now, Muniz has got some decent fixtures for the next few. There's still the up in the air kind of, debate around whether or not Chris Wood is still going to be a decent option with, rumours that the Nketiah deal's fallen apart, but they're looking at other forwards as well. So again, I think around that game week 6 period is when I would be looking to bring in the Brentford boys. Now, some of my experts are suggesting that this week could be a decent one, and Bryan Mbeumo did make the wildcard draft I put out this morning as well on that video, because if you can bench him for 4 and 5, it's a great run of fixtures, to be honest, and you can very easily play him against Spurs away. I think Brentford will create some opportunities there, and if Ivan Toney leaves the club, Bryan Mbeumo will be an absolute set and forget at 7 million, to be honest. A player playing out of position on penalties for a side that do score goals as well makes complete sense to me, to be honest. So I think Bryan Mbeumo definitely will be a player that will be featuring a little bit later on. I don't think for me I'm going to go for him this week, but it is a good fixture this week. Obviously, though, 4 and 5 are the more difficult fixtures that you're obviously going to have to deal with some rotation issues. So I think both of them are fantastic options, but just not quite ready for me yet. I think this game week 3 fixture is great. 4 and 5 make them not worth the option right now, but after that, game week 6 is definitely where I would be looking to jump on some Brentford assets. We'll have some more data. The transfer window will also be closed as well, so we will find out about what's happening with the Ivan Toney situation. If you did enjoy today's video or anything you've seen on the channel, please be sure to like, comment and subscribe. But thank you very much for watching today, ladies and gentlemen, and good luck in game week 3.